I'm Gemma from Generation Strength and welcome to day 5 of the 30-day Strength from Home workout challenge, where we're working out every single day for the next 30 days. Today is somewhat of a rest day. We'll be doing a 30-minute mobility series. We'll be focusing on different mobility flows every week. We've got 5 in total, so this is the first of the 5, and we'll be focusing on mobilizing the lower body. Mobility means taking the joint through its full range of motion. It involves a slow and controlled movement. The goal is to reduce imbalances, reduce the risk of injury, improve exercise performance in things such as the squats, the deadlifts, the overhead press. We use mobility drills to reduce pain and stiffness in the hips, in back and other parts of the body. By incorporating mobility into your training, you're going to be able to move better in general. Our daily habits of sitting, of being in the car, of watching TV, of bending over incorrectly leads to a lot of restrictions in movement. Eventually this can lead to pain, poor technique when you're exercising, which can lead to further pain, further stiffness and tightness, and a lack of overall energy. Today we're focusing on lower body, which means we're targeting the hips, the lower back, the inner and the outer thighs, as well as the quads and the hamstrings. Some of the moves will be a little bit uncomfortable because we'll be holding them at the end range of motion to increase mobility from 1 to 2 minutes. So make sure that you breathe, try to relax into the moves, and also try to be in the body to have a good mind-muscle connection. We're going to start with a hamstring stretch, so come onto your mat, knee down, foot forward. You're going to bend your knees slightly, you're going to bring up the foot, back is straight, and I'm reaching down. Okay, I'm going to do a minute on each side. So here I'm holding below my knee. My back is straight, I'm feeling the stretch here in the hamstring. And come down to the toe if I can. If it's too much pressure, come a little bit higher, as long as you're feeling it here. So we have 1 minute on each side. Make sure that you're pointing the toe up, that way we can incorporate the whole leg muscles as opposed to leaving it down. You're not going to feel the tension as much in your hamstring. Again, make sure that the back is straight. We don't want to be rounding over, and a slight bend in the knee. Try not to put your hands on the knee, so it's below or it's above. If you can't reach down, hold your toes, try not to pull them up to you. But again, the foot is flexed at the ankle and my back is straight. 8 seconds left. And now we're switching to the other side. Same again, 1 minute. Bend the knee, bend the toe, come down. Again, you want to come down as far as you're comfortable, keeping the back straight. Bring the knee back so it's just under the hip. We've got 30 seconds left. You can put the back foot up for balance, or you can lay it flat, whatever's more comfortable for you. If you find yourself losing balance, then keep this position. If not, let the foot come down and hold it there. Might find that one side is tighter than the other. That's okay, usually that's the case. You might find that they're both quite tight. Okay, next we're moving on to the Samson stretch. In this position we're going to come forward, we're going to squeeze the glute. I'm going to feel it on the front of the hamstring. Okay, I'm not coming forward too far. Okay, my knee's staying behind the toe, and I'm not overarching my back. I'm squeezing my core, and I'm tucking my pelvis down. And I'm bringing the arms up, and I'm bringing it slightly across. So I'm in a lunge position. The knee is not passing the ball of my foot. My pelvis is tilted and it's forward. I'm squeezing my abdominals. My arms are outstretched over my head. And my torso is gently rotating towards the side of the bent knee. Keep squeezing the glute. You're going to feel the hip flexor on the front engage a little more. 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to do the same on this side. I come forward. I squeeze the glute. I feel it in the hip flexor. My arms come up. And I rotate over towards my leg. So here we're stretching the hip flexor. We're engaging the glute to help the hip flexor relax, which is why we're squeezing the glute. We're stretching the arms as far up as we can into the side, so you should feel the stretch coming down the side of the torso. Deep breaths. It can be an uncomfortable movement. Focus on squeezing the glute. Focus on feeling the front of the hip. Relax. The arms are outstretched and we're getting a nice stretch down here into the psoas, into the hip flexor. We've got 5 seconds left on this side. And we'll move on to our next exercise. Now we've got the twisted hip opener. So we're going to keep in somewhat the same position. Knee's going to go out. I'm opening up the hip. Bring the other hand down. And then I reach and grab the back of my foot. So here we're stretching the hips, we're stretching the hip flexor, and we're stretching the quadricep on this side. And I'm going to turn my head and rotating, and I'm looking at my foot, looking at my arm. Okay, I'm not too far down. For you, it might look something like this. Okay, the hands up, because the quad is quite tight. That's okay if you're higher up. If you can come lower and sink into the position, that's great. Just make sure that the hip is going out to the side, that the knee is open. If you can't reach this position with the foot, that's fine, just come down. Leave the foot. Bring it up if you can. If you can't touch, that's fine. You can hold this position. We're going to switch, go to the other side, switch to the other side. So again, knee out, opposite hand in line with the foot, bring the back leg up, grab the foot, twisting. I want to bring the foot as close as I can to the glute. You're going to feel it pulling in the front of the quad. If you can't get in this position, again, hold it here, come up as much as you can. If it's here, if it's here. Deep breaths. Make sure that the foot is firmly planted on the mat. We don't want to be coming on the outside. We have 15 seconds left. So we should feel it really opening up the hip on the right side. Next, we're going to go into the deep squat rotation. So you're going to come against the wall. So I'm coming down, my feet are out, my hips are open, I'm against the wall, my bum, my back, everything is touching the wall. I have my hand here and I'm rotating up, palm is touching the wall. It's going to be an intense move because we're at the end range of motion at the hips. And a lot of the time we have very tight hips from sitting all day and from not moving very much. If this position is a bit too difficult for you to get in, you can modify it by coming slightly higher. Coming too high is going to work the front of the quads, so it's going to be burning. So I suggest sitting into the movement as much as you can. Keep the knees behind the toes. arm is flat against the wall. I'm sitting up, I'm pushing the upper back and the lower back into the wall. I'm really feeling it open up the hips. I'm sinking down into the hips. And then I'm going to switch and do it on the other side. Again, 1 minute on this side. Make sure that the weight is on the heels. Pushing the hips into the wall. That's when you might feel it burning in the hips. It's quite a difficult movement. You're not doing very much, you're not moving, but it takes a lot. I find yourself sweating. Okay, now we have pigeon. Okay, so pigeon, we're going to be stretching the deep glute muscle. This position is quite hard for people to get into, so I do recommend that you get a small stool. Okay, we're going to be holding this for 1 minute on each side. So the leg is up and the hands are here next to my leg. With the external face of the foot and the knee that's on the floor. Minimal knee flexion in the back. Hold myself up. If we can go lower, great. If not, start high. So we're starting here. Should feel it stretching in the back. We can come down. Hold this position. Again, if it feels a bit too intense, we can come up. We've got 10 seconds left. Deep breaths. 3, 2, 1. We're going to switch to the other side. Again, if you want to use an object, like a box or a stool, you can. Just make sure that your knee is bent. Here it's perpendicular. Your hips are not rotated, they're square on and they're right in front. Again, one side might be tighter than the other. So for example, here my hip is slightly off the floor. I have a little bit mobility in my other side. So I'm just going to stay a little bit higher. I'm not going to come too far down. So go to wherever is comfortable for you. You should feel like a good stretch, but not too much effort, not too much. You shouldn't be feeling any pain when you're in these movements, just maybe a little bit uncomfortable. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're switching to a T-opener. So again, opening up the hips. We're going to do 1 minute on each side. I'm going to start here. My elbow is going to come down, and then I'm going to rotate up. So I'm here, the hip is open. I come down, elbow touching the floor if you can, if not, as low as you can go. And then I'm rotating up to open up the upper back. So the hip is open, the knee is pushed out. I'm going as low as I can, trying to touch the elbow to the floor, rotating nice and slowly. And then we're going to switch and we're going to do the other side. So, lunge position, back knee down, hand comes down, I rotate. Bring bent elbow down and up, pushing the knee to the side. Point the fingers straight up in the air. Squeeze the lower back, bringing the arm around. Nice and slow and controlled to the top. 5 more seconds. Next, we're moving on to the frog. So in the middle of your mat, you're going to take your knees as wide as you can with your feet together. You're going to sit back onto your hips. And then we're going to come down. We're going to hold this for 2 minutes. Try to sit the bum onto the heels. Just stretching out the arms as far in front as I can. My forehead is resting on the mat. I'm feeling this stretch in my adductors, the inside of the upper leg, near the groin area. I'm also stretching the mid-back, the upper back where the trapezius is, with my arms in the overhead position. I'm pressing down on my elbows a little bit just to engage the upper back muscles. So I'm enhancing the stretch, getting a little bit more mobility in my upper back. Deep breaths. 1 more minute. If you want to add a stretch to the lats, the muscles that run from the shoulder to the hip on the side, we can bring the arms over. Come to the side. So now I can feel it stretching from this arm down to the hip. So we're incorporating a little bit more of a back stretch. I'm going to walk my hands over, back to the center, reset the position. Then I'm going to go as far as I can to the other side. Again, I'm feeling the stretch here and down. 10 more seconds. And I come back to center, forehead down. Again, I'm resting on my heels. I'm holding this position for the last few seconds. Come up, out on frog. Next stretch is going to be for 2 minutes. It's a V stretch, it's against the wall. So we want to get the bum as close to the wall as possible. From here, our legs are going to go out to the side. Try to make sure that the hips are even. Bum against the wall, and then the hands are going to be overhead. You can have your hands like this, or you can put the back of the hands flat on the floor with palms up. Go as wide as we can. We're stretching the adductors again, the inside of the muscle. I'm reaching up and overhead and pressing down on the floor with my neck. So it's as if I'm almost making a double chin and resetting the neck position, which is really good if you spend a lot of time sitting, watching TV on the phone. Tend to have a lot of forward head posture. This helps to reset that. So your lower back should be flat against the wall. Lower back should be flat against the floor. If the stretch is a little bit too intense, you can bring the bum further away from the wall, pressing the heels into the wall. Again, as wide as you can. It's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it shouldn't be pain. You shouldn't be thinking, ow, 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 when is this over? One more minute in this position. You should feel the back of the hamstrings relaxing. a little bit. The adductors are working on the inside of the leg. Deep breaths. Next we've got the frog against the wall, so we're going to hold the position, bring the bum close to the wall, feet together. From here I'm going to gently push on my knees. The goal is to take the knees as close to the wall as you can, pushing them as far apart as you can. So if you don't have too much flexibility, maybe your feet are going to be a little bit higher up and you're just gently pressing. For those that have a little bit more mobility, bring them down and then press out. Focus on creating as much pressure on each side so that there's a balance. You should be feeling the stretch here on the inner thigh, on the adductors. We're holding the stretch for 1 minute. 3, 2, 1. Okay, last stretch that we're going to do, we're going to stay against the wall. Now we're going to bring the feet up, we're going to stretch the hamstring. So my bum is against the wall, it's flat. My hands are to the side. Make sure that your feet are flexed. Now I can feel it stretching my knee and then stretching the hamstring coming down. Keep the foot flexed. We're going to hold this for 2 minutes. This is the last exercise of the lower body mobility series. If I don't flex the foot, if I leave it like this, I'm not creating much tension on the hamstrings, so it's important that we flex, bringing the toes closer to the body, closer to the knees. My hands are relaxed in the side. My bum is against the wall. If there's too much pressure on the hamstrings, if your hamstrings are a little tight, bring the bum a few centimeters away from the wall. Obviously, the more flexible I am, the closer I'm going to be to the wall with my bum pressing against the wall. As you're flexing the feet, you're also contracting the quadriceps on the front as the hamstrings are relaxing. Bend the knees, relax. And that's it, we've completed the 20-minute lower body mobility drill. Well done, I hope that you're feeling better, that your hips are more open. It's good timing because tomorrow we're doing the lower body workout. So I will see you tomorrow for day 6, lower body.